Another old swamp saying went, "When dealing with a troubled and troublesome Mulgrim, do not light a fire beneath her, but help her build one from within."
Oh, my neck hearkens the anguished howls of the Mulgrim, and the bitter patter of feet. A somebody and its flame, albeit a small one. 'Tis enough, perhaps. The Mulgrim's precious shards, they must be returned to her lair, to her cauldron. Only then may the cleansing fire burn. approach over the mountain vein and find. We ragdolls observe, we record, and we mimic. Their faces with a mask they do not know. What the short and yearning hides behind. The hands will tell. We put on a mask, we perform, and we put on a show.
doing? Don't eat me! Well, if you're not gonna gobble me up, then can you maybe take me away from here? Please? Somewhere closer to Nobodyville and away from here. Get me out of this neck hole, please. I'm begging you on my bare chin, and I'll pay you for the effort. Handsomely with a beautiful shard from the Mulgrim's cauldron. I have the...
Hands up! Ready! Up! Break with your boots! Take with your hands! Full of fire! The fire is ours! Take the charge! Take the fire!
Good evening. Or is it morning or afternoon? Hard to tell without a sun, isn't it? No, it is most certainly night, or moonbirds hooting wouldn't let make sense at all. Speaking of sense, will you help an old bird find some in this story? Fire up these dusty murals in the right order, and you will receive a present, a little gift, yes. Bring the fire to the story. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. And as the heads roll, the time of the Mulgrim begins anew. The battle ended with a great, gruesome beheading. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. Peace ended when the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. The battle ended with a great, gruesome beheading. As the heads roll, the time of the Mulgrim begins anew. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. The valley that ain't edible. The story needs to be just right. As the heads roll, the time of the Mulgrim begins anew. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. The battle ended with a great, gruesome beheading. Peace ended when the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. Peace ended when the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. Ended with a great, gruesome beheading. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. As the heads roll, the time of the Volgrim begins, and you... That's not the way the story blows. Once upon a time, the Volgrims lived in peace. The battle ended with a great, gruesome beheading. As the heads roll, the time of the Volgrim begins, and the valley was didn't make no sense again. Once upon a time, the Volgrims lived in peace. As the heads roll, the time of the Volgrim begins, and you... The valley was taken, but then began the battle ended. I'm growing impatient and hungry. Try a different order. Once upon a time, the Volgrims lived in peace. As the heads roll, the time of the Volgrim begins, and once upon a time, the Volgrims lived in peace. The battle ended with a great, gruesome beheading. Peace ended when the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. Once upon a time, the valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. Ended with a great gruesome beheading. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. Peace ended with the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. And I'm growing impatient and hungry. Try a different ended with the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. And as the heads roll, the time of the Mulgrim begins anew. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. The battle ended with a great gruesome. That ain't edible. The story needs to be. Just right. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. And as the heads roll, the time of the Mulgrim. The valley was taken, but the battle didn't make sense. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. The battle ended with a great gruesome. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. And as the heads that's not the way the story goes. Once upon a time, the battle ended. The valley was taken, but then began the battle. Peace ended. To try again. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. Peace ended when the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. Intriguing. And as the heads, I'm growing impatient and hungry. A different order. Once upon a time, the Mulgrims lived in peace. Peace ended when the violent sun bodies invaded the valley. The valley was taken, but then began the battle of the bodies. The battle ended with a great gruesome beheading. the skies. Then one terrible night came the violent somebodies. They hunted the Mogrims for sport and took their fire for themselves. But the somebodies knew not what they were dealing with, for as soon as they held the fire in their grubby hands, they began to fight one another with it. To save themselves from themselves, the cunning heads turned on their bodies and organized a great beheading. And so it was that somebodies became nobodies, and the bodies were exiled. A time of peace ensue, or so the headlings thought. The last living Mogrim had been biding her time, and saw now an opportunity to return and take bloody vengeance upon the heads, who were now left defenseless without their bodies. The time of the Mogrim begins anew. A storied meal indeed. Moonbird thanks you for feeding her and proudly upholds the promise. A gift. A shard from the Mogrim's own cauldron. It looked so shiny in the moonlight. Moonbird simply had to take it. For now, she'll see you in the light.
Watch out! She's here! Look out! She's here!
appreciate the brain thought, somebody, but that head belongs to somebody else. Her you must taketh back to Headville, outside the swamps, from whence you came.
Phew, thanks for saving my neck. And I think I have a reward for you. A real treasure. There you go. One of the 3 missing shards from the Mulgrim's Cauldron. Yeah, I stole it. Oh, I thought I could maybe buy me some kind of ticket away from, well, everything. Start anew, you know? A good head on a pair of healthy, strong shoulders. Eyes on the horizon. Gosh, the horizon. Do you know I haven't seen it once since I lost my body? I really do miss my body. It's a real shame when you think about it, you know? The things that we do to ourselves, to one another. What we did to her, kind. All in the name of some sort of control. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I guess I'm sad. Sad and sorry. Hey, thanks. You're a great listener. You know that? Just take care of that shard now. And maybe put it back where it belongs and... yeah. Goodbye.
It's easy to lose one's head when everything you love is either gone, broken, or dead. Yet another forgotten swamp saying. She'd never been much for company until she had met the other one. He had shimmering scales, an appetite for life, and carried a faint scent of rotting leaves she found irresistible. Oh, how they used to laugh at the distant stars, bitterly, together.
The howls of the Mulgrim have gone with the wind, and our headaches settled into gentle throbbing. Thank you, somebody, for you have not only graciously saved our necks, but also demonstrated the value of brain mass and heart blob working together. Could it be time for the bodies to return? We must convene on this matter, and you and your wandering flame must now leave through our gates and keep on walking the midnight walk to Moon Mountain.
Moon Mountain!
Here you go, somebody. This key will open the town gates. The mountain once again beckons, and the call is answered. Very well. And take good care of your flame. The dark itself is hungry.
Mind over body! 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 Mind over body!
I think this body business will be good for us heads in the long run.
The bodies might be returning heads on now. I've had enough. First it was the big Mulgrim hunt, and then when they forced us out into that make-a-forgiven swamp, I hate hiking. And then when we had nothing left to hunt, we started fighting each other. And then Mr. Mayor gets this grand idea that we should chop our own heads off and banish our bodies. How does that even scientifically work? I've had enough of civilization.
So, back from a little swamp detour, huh? Hope the heads didn't give you too much trouble. At least your head looks attached to its shoulders and your friend's is, well, burning. So do not despair. Should you once again lose your way along the Midnight Walk, you're probably meant to. The body can be a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. Protect the spark. Find its home, won't you? See down the road. I guess you gotta lose your head before you before you can. No, there's nothing there. I gotta workshop this one some more. You better get going. House is restless, and I'm feeling a song shaking in my boots. Things don't have to make sense to make sense.
We Mulgrims have a special relationship with fire. We do not cook over it. We do not shed tales around it. We care not for its warmth. Ours is a different connection entirely. Fire is our window to truth and into the world beyond clay, to which we must return. We are noble beings, bringers of bugs, slime, and mushrooms to help decompose the old and to bring about the new. We are the caretakers of this world, and woe be to those who seek to end us, for they seek to end themselves.
dreadful was the day when the sun vanished. The waters dried up, birds went quiet, and the dark itself seeped unchecked into the work table as the cold, chewed paper moon rose over the mountain. The night that followed would be long as the midnight walk. The burnt one was there. You do not remember, but you feel it, don't you? You are reborn when need arises. This night, Port Boy needs you, and Moon Mountain beckons. Its call irresistible. A storm is coming. The soothsayers have spoken.